So what we'll be learning today is economic value added. Which chapter we are learning is a security analysis and a security valuation. Today we will be learning important topic because it is asked n number of times in examination. Also from the practical perspective also this topic is important. So what we are going to learn today is economic value added. Now, first let me give you the formula for EVA. Economic value added in short is termed as EVA. Is it alright? So what it does is, it finds out operating profit after tax. Operating earning after tax. Is it alright? Instead of earning, I am using profit word. Operating profit after tax. So what you are earning for your equity shareholders, for your debenture holders and for your preference shareholders. Is it alright? Because what is paid as a tax is paid to government. Is it alright? So it is operating profit after tax minus what is deducted from it? It is your capital employed. Is it alright? So what is your capital employed? It is total equity plus debt. Even if preference shares is there plus preference shares. Is it alright? Capital employed multiplied by weighted average cost of capital. Is it right? We have learned it in intermediate. It is KO, overall cost of capital. Is it all? Let me give you an idea what is happening. First, suppose my company's total capital employed is 100 crore rupees. So the total amount invested in the business is 100 crore rupees. Is it alright? My KO, weighted average cost of capital or overall capital, is nothing but cost of capital is 10%. See, now what does this mean? Whenever my company borrow 100 rupees, 10 rupees is the cost. Company borrow 100 rupees, 10 rupees is the cost. Is it all? This is nothing but KO or weighted average cost of capital. Is it all? So, what will be the answer of this? It is 10 crore. Is it all? So, understand from the perspective of the company. What is payable as a return to your investor? Who are your investors? Equity shareholders, debenture holders, preference shareholders. Is it right? How much return is to be paid? 10 crore. Is it alright? In comparison to that, what company is earning? Say company is earning 15 crore. What will be answer? 5 crore rupees. Is it alright? And 5 crore rupees will be termed as economic value added. Is it alright? Now you will tell me, sir, why this is in the chapter of security analysis? I can do it. There is company A, there is company B. Company A, EVA, they are in both the same segment. Both capital employed is 100 crore. Is it alright? EVA of company A is 5 crore and EVA of company B is 10 crore. EVA, the company B might be having higher cost of capital, but still it is easily able to recover its capital and earned more as compared to what is expected from it, or what is the cost of it. Is it alright? So why it is termed as economical value added? Please try to understand. What is economics is money. Is it alright? Or optimal utilization of money. Economic value added. Is it alright? So, for this company who has invested 100 crore rupees and total return to all stakeholder comes to 10%, that is 10 crore rupees. Is it all? Now understand, return is paid to debenture holders, they are outsiders. Return is also paid to preference shareholders. They are insiders, that means they are owners. Return is also paid. In this 10% also cost of equity will be considered. So even if after paying the dividend, what is the total payment to debenture holders, preference shareholders and equity shareholders paid as a dividend is 10 crore rupees. Is that right? But still what company is earning is 15 crore. So that a 5 crore gap, my company is earning more as compared to the money which I am using. Is it alright? See, if in this industry, if I am using 100 crore rupees with a cost of 10%, then for making a financial break even, I should earn 10 crore. I am earning 15 crore, so 5 crore is nothing but economic value added. Is it right? This is what is economic value added. This you have learned it at your intermediate, but please try to understand. Here I am giving a brief idea about it. Weighted average cost of capital. I am taking right now only two sources of capital, equity and debentures. Is it right? I will be writing cost, treating it as I. Weight. Normally market value is taken. If market value is not available, you can take even book value. Is it alright? What is taken is weight. Is it alright? Write down cost of equity and debentures. Now how to find out cost of equity and debentures? That you will have to go to intermediate. Write down its market value over here. Find out weighted average. Sigma IW divided by sigma W, and that is nothing but overall cost of capital. In our example, we have taken 10%. Is it alright? So this is a weighted average cost of capital. Let me again explain you. If you are borrowing 100 crore rupees and your KO is 10%, that means that for borrowing that 100 crore rupees, your per annum cost is 10 crore rupees. That is 10% of 100%. This is nothing but weighted average cost of capital. Let us go to this concept part or operating profit after tax. Try to concentrate over here. Say earning before interest and tax or profit before interest and tax of a company is say 50 crore. Interest of this company is 10 crore. This is a marginal costing statement and all of us have learned it. This will be earning before tax, which is 40 crore minus tax rate of 10%. It is never of 10%. Normally it is 30 or 40%, but let me for purpose of example take 10%. This is 4 crore rupees. This is 36 crore rupees, which is nothing but earning after tax. Is it alright? So which profit should be taken? This. Why? This profit is available to equity shareholders, to debenture holders, to preference shareholders. Is it all? This profit is not available to debenture holders. Is it all? It is available only to preference shareholders and equity shareholders. But this 50 crore rupees of profit is available to equity, preference as well as debenture holders. Is it all? But this figure is paid to government. Is it all right? So what you should do is 50 crore minus 4 crore is 46 crore is operating profit after tax. But in real life this is not done. Please try to understand. This is also one of the concept that is not done. What they does is this. They take 50 crore. They deduct a tax from it minus tax 10 crore. Sorry, it is 10%, it is 5 crore. At the rate of 10%, this is a 45 crore which they take as operating profit after tax and not 46 crore. They will be taking only 45 crore as operating profit after tax. Is it alright? So, what is the difference? Please try to understand. Is it alright? Sir, this tax actually paid is 4 rupees. I absolutely agree. Is it alright? So, what you should do is 50 minus 4 is 46. That's correct. But believe me, the tax is 4 rupees and not 5 rupees. The reason is interest. And believe me, the reason is not interest. It is a tax benefit on interest. What is the reason? Tax benefit on interest. Say, what is the interest? 10 crore rupees. Is it an expenditure? Yes. Will it reduce the taxable profit? Yes. How much a tax it will reduce? What is the tax rate? 10%. It will reduce 1 crore rupees as tax. That's right. And the normal calculation, normal traditional calculation of EVA says that this tax benefit on tax benefit on interest should be deducted even, because ultimately even if it is tax benefit on interest, it is tax. You will have to pay in real life? No. But is it a tax portion? Yes. So this is also to be deducted, and so this should be 45. Is it alright? So how to find out operating profit after tax is find out EBIT into 1 minus T. Is it right? I hope you understand. If you do EBIT into 1 minus T, you get 45. If you do EBIT into T, is it alright? If EBIT into T, then you will be getting 5 crore rupees. Is it alright? 50 into T. T is 10%. Is it alright? 1 minus T will be 90%. So 50 crore into 1 minus 0.10. It is 50 crore into 0.90 is 45. You will be getting this answer. Is it alright? So how to find out OPAT is this. EBIT into 1 minus T. Is it alright? So OPAT in this case will be EBIT into 1 minus tax rate will be OPAT. Is it alright? So this is nothing but economical value added. Financially, how much value you are adding to this particular economy. Is it alright? So you should have earned 10 crore. Because you are using that 100 crore rupees money, you should be earning 10 crore. You are earning 15 crore. So 5 crore is economic value added. We will be doing couple of questions of this economic value added from our exercise. Is it alright? So it is C 1.5.1. With the help of the following information of Jatayu Limited, compute the economic value added. Now please understand, economic value added 4 marks, 5 marks, 6 marks is asked n numbers of times, and the concept is extremely simple. So you should always be knowing this concept of economic value added. Capital structure is 160 lakhs, 140 lakhs. Please understand, this is always a part of equity. Reserve is a part of equity. Debentures are 400 lakhs. Cost of equity is 14%. Financial leverage is 1.5 times. Again, please understand why intermediate finance is so much important. In final, they assume that you are knowing the concept of financial leverage. Sorry, is 1.5 times. Income tax rate is 30%. Let me draw that marginal costing profitability statement. EBIT minus interest will be EBT minus tax will be EAT. I don't think tax will be much relevant. Is it correct? Yes, it might be relevant to find out this cost. Is it all? So what is given? Financial leverage is given, yes. But can I find out interest? The answer is yes. How many debentures are there? 400 lakhs. What is the rate? 10%. So interest will be 40 lakhs. What is the degree of financial leverage? If you have not understood at lower level, degree of financial leverage is nothing but EBIT divided by EBT. What is degree of financial leverage over here? 1.5. What is EBIT? I don't know. But is EBIT minus interest? Yes, it is EBIT minus interest. Is nothing but EBT. So instead of EBT, I can write down EBIT minus interest. Is it all right? Take EBIT as X. So 1.5 is equal to X upon X minus interest. I am knowing it is 40 lakhs. So this will be 1.5 X minus 40 is equal to X. 1.5X minus 60 is equal to X. This will be 0.5X is equal to 60. So X will be 60 divided by 0.5. It is 120. Which is nothing but EBIT. So what is my EBIT? 120. EBT will be 80. Tax rate is 30%. It is 24, and so my answer will be 56 of EAT. Let's start. I want to find out EVA, economic value added. In second portion, I'll have to find out cost of capital and especially KO. Let me find out on separate page which are the two source of capital, equity and debentures. What is the cost? Cost of equity they have given is 14%. Cost of debenture is 10%. If you go to cost of capital at intermediate level, even if it is 10%, it is tax deductible. Is it all right? So your cost of debt will be 10% into 1 minus T. You will be getting tax benefit. Is it all right? So what is the tax rate is? 30%. So 10% into 1 minus 0.30 will be nothing but 7. That's all right. So debenture cost will be 7%. You will say me, sir, we have learned this type of formulas. It is nothing but interest into 1 minus T upon borrowings into 100 is nothing but cost of irredeemable debentures. It is the same thing. 10. Your interest, if the face value is 100, your interest will be 10. Into 1 minus 0.30. If nothing is given, borrowing should be taken as 100 into 100 will be nothing but 7%. Is it all right? So whether you use the formula or you directly take the tax benefit, ultimately the answer you will be getting is 7%. What is a total equity? This should be taken as weight. If it is not given, I am taking book value. Is it all right? It is 140 plus 160. As I told you, reserve is always part of equity. 160 plus 140 is 300 and debenture is 400. If I find out the answer, there's a 700 sigma IW divided by sigma W. Is it all right? Let me directly take the cost. It is 10%. It is coming exactly 10%. So cost of debenture is 7%, not 10%, but it is coming 10%. So KO is 10%. Let me find out EVA, economic value added. It is no part net operating profit after tax minus capital employed multiplied by K. No part. I'll have to find out. It is EBIT into 1 minus T. So it is 120 into 0.70. 120 into 0.7 is 84. So no part will be 84 minus what is capital employed? Capital employed is 160, 300 plus 400. So it is totally 700. Is it all right? Multiplied by KO is 10%. So this will be 84 minus 70, which is nothing but 14, will be, it is rupees are in lakhs, so 14 lakhs will be nothing but economic value added. Sorry. So this is understanding of no part and economic value added, a simple question of EVA. All the questions normally are simple as far as economic value added is concerned. Let us go to second question. Tender Limited has earned a net profit of 15 lakhs after tax at 30%. Alright. So what is given is earning after tax is 15 lakhs. And tax rate is 30%. Interest cost charged by financial institutions were 10 lakhs. So let me draw this. EBIT minus interest will be EBT minus tax will be EAT. And they are saying that interest is 10 lakhs. That's it, alright. The invested capital is 95 lakhs, of which 55% is debt. 95 lakhs, of which 55% is debt, so 45% will be equity. Let me find out the number. 95 into 0.55 is 52.25, and 95 into 45 is 42.75. 42.75 lakhs is equity and 52.25 lakhs is debt. The company maintains a weighted average cost of capital of 13%. So KO is directly given. This is nothing but KO. Required. Compute the operating income. So I need to find out EBIT. Is it alright? If 15 lakhs is profit after tax, what will be profit before tax? Is it alright? Say if EBT was given, EBT into 1 minus T would be nothing but EAT. That's it, alright. So if EAT is given 15 lakhs, tax rate I am knowing, so 1 minus T will be 0.70. So what will be this? 15 lakhs divided by 0.7 is 21.42. 4285. 21.4285. Verify. 21.4285 multiplied by 30% is 6.4285. And this answer should be 15 lakhs. Is it all? If this is 21.4285, this is 10 lakhs, this will be 31.4285. Is it all? So I have got EBIT, which is nothing but operating income. Is it all? Compute the economic value added. Is it all right? Let me find out EVA. Economic value added is no part minus capital employed multiplied by Q. How to find out no part? EBIT into 1 minus T minus capital employed multiplied by Q. Let me put in the figures. EBIT is 31.4285 into 1 minus 0.30 minus total capital employed is 95 lakhs. Multiplied by KO is a 10% which they have given. So this will be 31.4285 into 0.70 is equal to M plus, and 95 into 0.1 is equal to M minus. MRC is 12.49. Is nothing but economic value added lakhs rupees, because all the rupees are in lakhs. Is it all right? This is nothing but economic value added in this particular question. Let us go to alright. Why none of you are reminding me? KO is 13% and not 10%. All of you are sleeping? So the answer will be 31.4285 multiplied by 0.7 is equal to M plus 95 into 0.13 is equal to M minus MRC is 9.6499. Is nothing but EVA. This is economic value added. Let me go to third question. Tender Limited has 6 lakh equity shares outstanding. How much dividend can the company pay before the value of the entity starts declining? That's correct. This is also known as EVA dividend. Please try to understand. What is the total amount of money required to satisfy equity share, preference shares plus debenture holders is this 95 lakhs into 13%. How much company is earning this much after tax? So what is the surplus? 9.6499. Is it alright? Surplus after satisfying all the stakeholders. Now it is 9.6499 lakhs. How many number of shares are outstanding? 6 lakhs. If the company declares a dividend of this much rupees, it is 9.6499 divided by 6 is 1.6083. Dividend per share, if it is declared, believe me, the value of the firm will not fall because all the stakeholders are satisfied. Who are satisfied? Preference shareholders. If there is a market price of preference share, it will not fall. Who are satisfied? Equity shareholders, because you have covered their cost also. So their market price will not fall. Debentures, if traded in the market price will not fall because the interest is paid regularly and it is covered by the company. Is it alright? So after paying this dividend, also the equity shareholders will be more satisfied. Is it? Because they are getting excess dividend. So, but if you give more than this dividend, then who will suffer? Preference share debenture holders will suffer. They might not be getting that dividend and interest, and the market price of this company might start falling. So up till this much dividend, the market price will not fall. So the company can declare this much of dividend before market price starts falling, and this is also known as EVA dividend. It is nothing but EVA divided by number of shares. Is it alright? So this is how the EVA dividend concept came into picture. Is it alright? Are you all getting it? This is the point at which all stakeholders are satisfied. This is the actual earning of the company. This gap is EVA. If you distribute this much of dividend, it is all right, and still all the stakeholders will be happy. But beyond this, if you distribute something as dividend, then some of the stakeholders will not be getting that normal money also, and so they will be dissatisfied and the market price will start falling. Is it alright? So the one more concept in EVA, that is nothing but EVA dividend. Is it alright? We are going to question number 3, 1.5.3. Herbal World is a small but profitable producers of beauty cosmetics using plant aloe vera. Though it is not a high-tech business, yet herbal earnings have averaged around 18.5 lakhs after tax. So earning after tax is 18.5 lakhs. Mainly on the strength of his patented beauty cream to remove the pimples. The patent has 9 years to run and the herbal has been offered rupees 50 lakhs for the patent rights. Herbal assets includes 50 lakhs of property, plant and equipment, 25 lakhs of working capital. However, the patent is not shown in the books of Herbal World. Assuming Herbal cost of capital being 14%, calculate its economic value added. So see, if the tax information is not given, if the tax rate is not given, you can take this as net operating profit after tax. Is it all right? You can easily take it. Is it all right? Now, what is capital employed of company? I am writing it down. 50 lakhs of property, 25 lakhs of working capital. The question is, should I consider patent which is not recorded? The answer is yes. Please understand, you need to take all the assets. You are not doing accountancy. You are doing finance. What is your total asset should be considered. Someone is ready to give you 50 lakhs rupees for your patent. Your patent value is 15 lakhs should be considered. Whether it is recorded in the books of accounts or not, it does not make any difference. So 125 lakhs is nothing but total capital employed. KO will be 14%. Is it not? The question arises as, sir, you told us that capital employed is equity, debt and preference. Here you are adding something else. Is it not? Please understand, the balance sheet of any company is always tallied. This is a balance sheet. Is it alright? Equity, preference and debt are over here. Is it alright? Asset, working capital, patent if written is over here. Is it alright? So either you can add this 3 or you can add this 3. It does not make any difference. Is it alright? Please understand, I have not taken outside liability, say creditors. Is it alright? So here there are say creditors. Then how you should value your business? Either all assets minus outside liability. Net purchase method. Is it alright? Net asset method. You might have learned the concept of amalgamation. Net asset method of valuation of purchase consideration. What they do, they value all the assets minus they deduct the liability. Net payment method. Of course, in AS 14, debentures are not considered, but this is just a concept of valuation. If you want to sell this business, say X Limited, either you value all your assets, deduct all your liability, or you find out market price of your equity, preference and debentures. This is how the company is valued. So instead of adding this, here I have added this. There is no information of creditors, otherwise I would have deducted creditors over here. Is it all? I need to find out EVA. Now EVA concept will be extremely easy. EVA is equal to no part minus capital employed into Q, which is 18.5 lakhs minus capital employed is 125 lakhs into KO they have already given is 14%. Answer will be is 1 lakh. Yes, is nothing but EVA. Easy question, just a concept that even if the patent is unrecorded, you should always consider it. Is it correct? Going to fourth question. See 1.5.4. Compute economic value added of Good Luck Limited from the following information. They have given a full-fledged marginal costing statement. Income revenue from operations is 2000. Direct expenses and indirect expenses are thus. Profit before interest and tax is 800. Interest is 30. Profit before tax is 770. tax is 231, tax rate is 30%, profit after tax is 539. Equities and liabilities. Equity and reserve is 1000 plus 600, that is 1600, and long term borrowing is 200. Current liability is 800. Current liability includes creditors and that should not be considered. Non-current assets are 2000, current assets are 600, and this is how the total of balance sheet tally. Cost of debt is 15%. Is it? 200 into 15% will be 30. Yes. Cost of equity is 12%. Tax rate is 30%. Fourth point is important in this question. Bad debt provision of 40 lakhs is included in indirect expenses, and 40 lakhs is reduced from receivable in current assets. Is it alright? So this is provision for doubtful debts which is taken into consideration while reducing your profit. Is it all? So first thing I'll do is I'll increase my profit. Is it all? So what is my profit before interest and tax is 800? I will increase it by 40 lakhs. Is it all? So EBIT rectified is 800 plus 40. Alright. What we normally do is 1 minus T. Is it alright? But rarely what is taken is this. Minus what is reduced is directly tax. Is it alright? And I'm not taking tax rate but directly tax figure. What is the tax figure is 231. I am reducing it. And this is nothing but my NOPAT. Is it the same way in which I have determined NOPAT this EBIT into 1 minus T? The answer is no. Is it alright? What I have done in this case is this. This is not done. What is done is EBIT minus actual tax. Is NOPAT in this case. Is it all? Why I have done it? What is the difference? I'll tell you. Is it alright? It is 840 minus 231 is 609. Let us go to find out cost. Equity, debt, cost, weight. Equity cost is 12%. There is no tax benefit in equity cost. Cost of debt is 15%, but there is a tax benefit. What is the tax rate? 30%. So 15% into 1 minus T, that is 15% into 0.70. Is it alright? It is 10. This will be KD or cost of debt. Weight 1600 of equity, 200 of debt. Sigma IW divided by sigma W. It is 1600 into 12% is equal to M plus 200 into 10.5% is equal to M plus MRC divided by 1800 is 11.83%. This is I, this is W. I have just found out sigma IW. What is total capital employed is 1800. Third, I am finding out EVA is equal to NOPAT minus capital employed into Q. NOPAT is 609 minus capital employed is 1800 into 11.83 percentage. 609 minus 1800 into 11.83 percentage. It is 212.94. So this is 609 minus 212.94 will give me 396.06. Will be nothing but economical value added. Is it alright? Yes, they have done an alternate way in your suggested the PDF which you have got. But understand they have also given this as an option. Believe me, second option is not correct. What they are saying is we will not take this 600 rupees as reso. 600 becomes always a part of reso. Is it alright? The only problem over here is this. See, normally what we do is this 1200 into 1 minus t. Is it right? Or I will do 800 into 1 minus t plus 40. Is it alright? But normally what should be done is 1200 into 0.70. 1200 into 0.7 is 840. And I should take 840 over here. Here I am taking 609. Is it all right? Please understand it does not make any difference. Is it all right? Why I have done in this?
800 plus 40.
Yes. Sorry. You are correct. It should be taken as 840, right? And 840 into 0.7. 840 into 0.7 is 588. So what I should take is a 588. Is it alright? Yes. Please understand, while finding out no part, is it alright? What is done is this: EBIT minus tax. EBIT minus tax. Is it alright? Now, which tax is to be reduced? One says you should reduce your actual tax also. You should reduce your actual tax also, and you should reduce your tax benefit on interest also, which we normally do. EBIT into 1 minus t will reduce everything. What is another case is, they say what you should reduce is actual tax. Is it alright? This is very rarely done. Only some of the authors suggest this. Is it alright? Normally, what you should do is this. In question number 1, 2, and 3, we have done this. What is the formula? EBIT into 1 minus t. And in the question number 4, we have done this, whereby we do EBIT minus actual tax which you are paying. So this is nothing but the difference. In your examination, I suggest you always go for this. Never go for this. Even if this was a question of May 2019, then also what you should follow is this left hand side portion. That is nothing but EBIT into directly 1 minus t. These are 4 questions of EVA that are classwork. There are a couple of questions in your homework that you need to solve it on your own. This is completion of economical value added. Now, we are taking some of the doubts. Yes, Sakshi.
Sir, can I ask? Because I am having doubt in EBIT first point. We have added 800 plus 40 lakhs minus tax 231.
Yes.
Sir, that 231 is on 231 does not include the tax on 40 lakhs.
Agreed.
So, sir,
Yes.
doubt on that.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree. Isra, this 231, when it was calculated, this 40 is not added in this, right? This is
Yes,
what you
sir.
say. Isra. But understand,
Yes, sir.
I am assuming that this 40 lakhs is provision on bad debt and is allowable under Income Tax Act. Normally provisions are not allowed in Income Tax Act. But understand, here we are not becoming expert of income tax. We are in finance.
Yes,
So
sir.
we are assuming that this 40 lakhs is tax deductible expenditure. But as it is non-cash, in finance we think only about cash. We are not considering this 40 for tax purpose. Is it correct? See, please understand.
sir.
After completion of this question, you should always write down in your examination assumption. Tax
Yes, sir.
benefit on interest is deducted. Sorry, tax benefit on interest is not deducted. We have not deducted tax benefit on interest because we are reducing actual tax and not directly EBIT into 1 minus T. Number 2, rupees 40 lakhs provision of depreciation is a tax deductible, assumed. Is it correct? Now, if you go to Income Tax Act, it is not actually tax deductible, but understand in finance you can assume. Is it correct? Please understand, if it was not a tax deductible, then tax on this should be reduced. Then what should be added is a 40 lakhs only into 0.70. Instead of 40 lakhs, I will be adding only 28 lakhs. Is it alright? What I am assuming then? I am assuming that the tax will be payable on this particular 40 lakhs. Is it right? So in CA final, everything is about
Yes, sir.
assumption. Whatever assumption you take, the answer should be based upon your assumptions. Is it alright?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes. Anyone else? Mac?
Also. Hello.
Yes, you are correct. We need to rectify this. Thus, capital employed, the assets are also increasing. Is it alright? So the market value of equity will increase. What will increase is reserve will increase by 40 lakhs. Is it alright? Say, this is my balance sheet. Here I need to add 40 in current asset. Is it all right? Because it was reduced, I am considering it as non-cash, I am adding it back in the profit. So here the 40 will be added. You will say, sir, we are totaling this only. But still, your balance sheet should tally. If 40 is added over here, 40 will be added to your profit also. So this should be taken as 640. You are absolutely correct. I am rectifying it. Is it all right? It should be 1840. So this should be 1840 into 0.1183 is 217.67. 217.67, and this answer will be 609 minus 217.67 is 391.33. Thank you, ma'am. This will be your answer of EVA. Is it alright? You are absolutely correct. If it is added back in the profit, it should be added back in the reserves also for finding out the capital employed. So this were 4 questions of economic value added. There are a couple of questions in your homework which you will be doing it on your own. Is it alright? So what we'll be learning next is bond. .007 James Bond. We are not this Bond. Believe me, it is difficult to value the security and analyze the security. It is much more difficult to value the bond and analyze the bond. So it is totally a different concept as valuation of equity shares. It is bond valuation. Also, we will be analyzing some of the concepts of bond. Sorry. First, try to understand all fundamental of bond. Bonds are exactly like debentures. Instead of interest, the name used is coupon. In debentures, the name used is interest. In bond, the name used is coupon. Is it alright? So, in bond, there will be coupon. So, there are different types of bonds, like a bond having a face value of 100, coupon rate of 10%, number of years 10, and maturity value or redemption value will be 110. So what will be there? For 1 to 10 years, you will be getting 10 rupees. And in 10th year, instead of 100 rupees, you will be getting 110 rupees back. Is it alright? These are normal type of bond. There are also this type of bond, zero coupon bonds. What are zero coupon bonds? Say, after 1 year, you will be getting rupees 200. Is it alright? Say, after 2 years, you will be getting 200. But during this 2 years, how much interest you will be getting? Nothing. Is it alright? Then who will purchase this type of bond? Everyone will purchase, because today this bond is available at say 150 rupees. It will not be so much gap, but just for the purpose of example, I am telling you. Is it alright? So if I am an investor, I will feel that 50 rupees on the investment of 150 rupees is my return. But it is not given as a coupon. Here the coupon, the interest is zero. So this type of bonds are known as zero coupon bonds. Is it alright? So these are bonds exactly like debentures. A huge market of bond are there. Where to invest, in which type of bond to invest, what to analyze in bonds will be relevant in this particular lecture. Is it alright? So what we are doing is understanding some of the jargons in bond. Let us take example of two types of bonds. This is bonds of X Limited. These are bond of Y Limited. Let me take maturity as less number of years so that the calculation becomes easy. Is it alright? So these are bond having number of years. Well, let me take 3 years at least. Number of years are 3. Coupon rate is 10%. On maturity, you will be getting 100 rupees. Face value is also 100 rupees. Let me find out cash flows of this bond. First, second and third year. The coupon is paid on face value. So face value multiplied by coupon rate. In first year, you will be getting 10 rupees. In second year, you will be getting 10 rupees. In third year, you will be getting 110 rupees. Is it all of you understand, right? Coupon rate is the rate of the rate which nominal you will be getting every year. Is it all right? These are your cash flows. Is it all? Y Limited, N is 3 years. Coupon rate is 12%. Redemption value is 100 rupees. Face value is also 100 rupees. What will be cash flow at the end of each year? 1, 2 and 3 years. Cash flows will be 12 rupees, 12 rupees and 112 rupees. Is it alright? So these are my cash flows of two different bond of X Limited and Y Limited. Is it alright? Let me just take 2 minutes. The market price of this bond is 90.70 rupees. So if you go to purchase this bond in the market, then the market price of this particular bond is nothing but 90.70 rupees. Is it all right? You will be paying 90.70 rupees to get a face value of bond of 100 rupees, which will be giving you 10 rupees every year for 3 years, and on maturity you will be getting 100 rupees back. Is it all right? First concept, what actually I am earning from this bond? If I purchase this bond today, what is the actual rate of return I am getting? What is the internal rate of return I am getting? What is yield on this bond? What actual rate of return I am earning? Sir, it is giving 10%, so I am earning 10%. Yes or no? Some students say me. One student. Stuti, you are there?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Tell me, whether I am earning exactly 10%.
No, sir, the effective rate would be different.
Effective rate would be?
Different.
Different means more or less.
More.
It will be more. Is it right? Why? Instead of investing 100 rupees, I am investing only 90.70 rupees. So yield on bond is a very simple concept. What actually you are earning on the bond? See, this is just written on face of it. If I had invested 100 rupees, if my redemption value was also 100 rupees, then I would have earned 10%. Actually, is right. But here I am paying only 90.70 rupees. So what is the actual rate of return I am earning? Actual rate of return is nothing but yield on the bond. Is it alright? So what I'll have to do is I will have to find out. See, please understand, if you are intelligent enough, you will never try it with 8%. Why? If I pay 100 rupees, I am getting 10%. If I pay only 90.70%, I am getting more than 10%. Is it right? So let me try it with 12%. I will be rubbing all this, but how to find out yield on the bond is this. Is it alright? I will be doing trial and error method. The method is exactly same as finding out internal rate of return. If you know, we have skipped one question of finding out IRR. Here we are actually doing it, finding out internal rate of return or yield on the bond. First, let me discount all this cash flow at the rate of 12%. Let me find out whether the 12% is actual answer or not. What I will be doing, I will be finding out present value of future cash flows multiplied by 1 divided by 1.12 raised to 1, 1.12 raised to 2, 1.1 divided by 1.12 raised to 3. Was it all? If I find out this answer minus present value of cash outflow at IRR, my NPV is 0. Is it alright? So I'll be finding out NPV. So what is this answer is 1 divided by 1.12 is equal to M plus MRC multiplied by 10 is equal to 16.90. And this answer will be 1 divided by 1.12 is equal to multiplied by 110 is 78.29. What is the answer? 9.1. It is 95.19. If you purchase this bond today, what this is present value of cash inflow, present value of cash outflow will be nothing but 90.70. Is it alright? Is 9. 4 is 5.49 positive is nothing but my NPV. Is it alright? Now, whether NPV is 0. See, if you don't know this, how to find out IRR, you can visit some of my capital budgeting lectures of intermediate. But understand, IRR is the rate at which NPV is 0. Now, if NPV is positive, what does it mean? The project is earning more than a required rate of return. I have taken required rate of return as 12%. I am earning more than 12%. So next interest rate which I'll try out is not 10% or 8%. I'll try out 15%. Is it not? Let me try out 15%. I'm just teaching you a method of finding out IRR. Is it alright? At 15%, what will be my present value of cash inflow is 1 divided by 1.15 is equal to M plus MRC multiplied by 10 is 16.25, and this will be 1 divided by 1.15 multiplied by 110 is 72.32. This is 7, this is 5, and this is 88.57 minus 90.70. It is minus 2.13. See, to find out that interpolation or to use the formula, one figure should be positive, one figure should be negative. See it logically. The rate will be more than 12%, but will be less than 15%. Because what does negative NPV means? The project is earning less than your rate of return. Is it alright? So, it will be between 12 and 15%. Is it alright? So, let us take base as 12%. Is it alright? Now, what is the difference in rate? 3%. Is it alright? So, difference in, let me use even this portion. Difference in rate is nothing but 3%. Is it alright? What is difference in NPV? It is not 5 minus this, it is 5 plus this. It is 5 minus this. So, what is difference in NPV? Is 5.49. Minus is plus. 2.13 is 7.62. Now, I want to make NPV 0. Is it all? How much difference in rate I should achieve so that my difference in NPV starting from 12%, I want to reduce more by 5.49 rupees. If I reduce more by 5.49 rupees, then my NPV will become 0. So I want a difference of NPV only of 5.49. Just cross multiply it. Is it all? It is nothing but 5.49.
Sir, that is 4.49, not 5.49.
Yes, sorry. Because this is 4.49, right? This is 4.49. Is it all? So, what will be my answer? 4.49 into 3 divided by 7.62. Is it all right?
Sir, 6.62.
Yes, sorry. Because this I'll have to change. Thank you, Mac. 6.62. Is it all right? So, what will be the answer is 4.49 divided by 6.62 multiplied by 3 is nothing but 2.03. Is it all right? 2.03. From 12%, if I increase the rate by 2.03%, then my NPV will become 0, which is nothing but IRR. So it is 12% plus 2.03% is nothing but 14%. The project is earning 14% rate of return or 14.03% rate of return. Believe me, I have first found out 14% and then I have given you this question. So this project is earning 14%. Sir, every time we will have to use this logic? The answer is no. You can convert this logic into formula. How you can convert is this. IRR or yield will be nothing but base rate is nothing but 12% plus what is 4.49 NPV, which is positive, divided by difference in NPV, which is nothing but 6.62 multiplied by difference in rate. Is not, if you use this formula, then also you can find out the answer. But understand, if logic is clear, then only this formula can be used. One figure should be positive, one figure should be negative, then only this formula should be used. And this is how you find out IRR, or yield on your bonds. The bond is earning exactly not 10% but 14%. 14%, and so IRR, or yield on this bond, is 14%. Is it right? Let me write it down with blue color pen. And yield is 14%. I am assuming you all are knowing IRR. Still, I have done one more time how to find out IRR, but the yield is nothing but 14%. There is another approximation of finding out this is also used in cost of capital, but this is also an alternative method of finding out an approximate return. Is it alright? What is it? How much every year you are earning? I should write down coupon. Is it alright? It is 10 every year. Is it alright? Plus, what is your redemption value minus your cost, divided by number of years, divided by your cost. It is actually redemption value plus cost divided by 2 multiplied by 100. Sir, what is this? This is nothing but finding out cost of capital of debentures. You are doing this. I plus RV minus B upon N upon RV plus B upon 2 multiplied by 100. And this was nothing but cost of redeemable debentures. This bond are redeemable. Cost of the company is nothing but return for the investor. But this is an approximation technique. Is it alright? So what I need to do is cost. Cost is 10. Plus, sorry, coupon is 10. Redemption value is 100 minus cost. This is cost 90.70 divided by 3. See, what every year I am earning 10 rupees, and this some 9.30 is income of 3 years. So I have divided by 3. I am ignoring time value of money. But so it is only approximation technique. And then I need to do. Let me take some more space. It is 10 plus 100 minus 90.70 divided by 3 upon, I am not taking base as 100, I am not taking base as 90.70, I am taking average of that 2. So it is 100 plus 90.70 divided by 2 multiplied by 100. So this will be 10 plus, this is 9.30 upon, this will be 95.35 multiplied by 100. This is 9.30 divided by 3. Plus 3.1. 13.1 divided by 95.35 multiplied by 100 is 13.73. Sir, it is not exact answer. I know it. It is an approximate answer. It is approximation technique by which the yield can be found out. Is it alright? So I can use that direct formula of cost of capital also and find out the answer. Is it alright? See, what is this? Is not a rocket science. This is my average investment. This is my average return. Return on investment I will be getting percentage, but it is an approximation technique because it ignores time value of money somewhat. See how it ignores time value of money? This divided by 3. This cannot be done in finance because in first year, second year and third year for finance, they all 3 years are different. Is it alright? So this is an approximation technique and which can be used to find out the yield. Is it alright? Let me go to Y Limited. And let me find out yield. First, I need to give you cost of Y Limited. I'm not repeating it. I'm just taking yield as 15%. Is it all right? Yield is 15. Let me change the color. Yield is 15%. Then what would be the cost? The cost would be, if I discount this cash flow at 15%, my NPV should be 0. So I can directly get the cost. How to find out the cost? 1 divided by 1.15 is equal to M plus MRC multiplied by 12 is 19.50, and this will be one divided by 1.15 is equal to multiplied by 112 is equal to 73.64. This will be 4, 9, 10, 13 and 8. It is 83.14. So what is cost of this bond or market price of this bond is 83.40. And if you find out IRR, your yield will come to 15%. I have taken question in such a manner that my yield comes to 15%. So here the yield is 14%.
93.14.
It is
93.
Sorry. Thank you, ma'am. 93.14. I have taken intentionally yield of 15%. Here my yield is 14%. Here my yield is 15%. I hope all of you are absolutely clear what is the yield of the bond. Actually what the bond is earning in the term of percentage. Is it alright? So this is the yield of the bond. Is it alright? Second concept in bond is the duration, and believe me, it is extremely difficult to understand. Duration of bond. I will be again finding out duration of X Limited. The person who invented this concept is Macaulay. And so this duration is known as Macaulay duration. Here this concept will be understanding in reverse manner. First we'll be understanding how to calculate the duration, and then we'll be understanding the use of this duration. Is it alright? So first X Limited. What was the yield? 14%. And this were my cash flows. At the end of 1, 2 and 3 years, my cash flows were 10, 10 and 110, if I am not incorrect. Yes. I will discount this cash flow at yield. And please understand, here I am writing down the actual value, which is 1 divided by 1.14 multiplied by 10 is 8.7719. This will be 1 divided by 1.14 is equal to multiplied by 10. It is 7.6946. This is 1 divided by 1.14 is equal to multiplied by 110. It is 74.24. Total answer is 74.24 plus 7.6946 plus 8.7719 is 90.70. If I discount all my cash flow at yield, the price, the present value which I'll be getting will be market price of bond. Agreed? Mehak, why it comes always market price of the bond?
So, because neither the market has undervalued nor it has overvalued
Agreed.
the bond.
But if I discount the cash flow at yield, why the present value of cash flow will be market price of the bond?
Sir, because earlier you had found the market price using the 14% yield only.
Agreed. But what is yield is IRR. What is IRR? The rate at which NPV is zero. So present value of cash inflow and present value of cash outflow will be same at IRR. Is it alright? So this is present value of cash inflow. What is market price of the bond? Present value of cash outflow. So it will always be same if you calculate it as yield. Is it all? Now try to understand what I am doing, and it is very weird. First try to understand the calculation, then I'll be explaining you the concept. Is it alright? I am taking this as I, 1, 2, 3, and this as W, present value of cash flow of each year, and I am finding out IW, and I will be finding out Maclaurin's duration by sigma IW divided by sigma W. So let me first, I know sigma IW, right? Sigma W is 90.70. What is IW? Let me find out. This will remain 8.7719. I can directly find out through M plus. So let me not find out individually. 8.7719 multiplied by 1 M plus 7.6946 multiplied by 2 is equal to M plus 74.24 multiplied by 3 is equal to M plus. MRC is 246.88. 246.88. I am finding out my duration. 246.88 divided by 90.70. 246.88 divided by 90.7. It is 2.72 years. Duration, Maclaurin's duration is in years. It is in years. That's not it. Let me first also find out of Y limited. Y limited. What was the yield? I have already found out it is 15%. At the end of first, second and third year, what were the cash flows is 12, 12 and 112. Let me verify it was yes. Yield is 15%. I am discounting the cash flow at 15%, but here I'll be writing all the figures. So it will be 1 divided by 1.12, 1 divided by 1.15 multiplied by 12 is 10.43. 1 divided by 1.15 is equal to multiplied by 12 is equal to 9.07. 1 divided by 1.15 is equal to multiplied by 112 is 73.64. Total answer will be 10.43 plus 9.07 plus 73.64 is 93.14. And it should be market price of this bond. If you discount all the cash flow at yield At yield, your NPV is 0. So present value of cash inflow will be is equal to present value of cash outflow, which is nothing but market price of the bond. Is it alright? So this is 93.14. Is it alright? I am finding out bond. I need to take this as I and this as W. I need to find out Maclaurin's duration by sigma IW divided by sigma W. Sigma W I know it is 93.414. That's right. Sigma IW I'll have to find out 10.43 M plus 9.07 multiplied by 2 is equal to M plus 73.64 multiplied by 3 is equal to M plus MRC is 249.49. 249.49 249.49 divided by 93.14 is 2.67. Alright, this is Maclaurin's duration and this is how it is found out. Please understand first what we are doing. It is nothing but weighted number of years, taking weight as a present value of cash flows. It is weighted, see what is taken as a variable is years. And what is taken as weight is nothing but a present value of cash flows. Try to understand the how it is defined. It is weighted number of years in which your investment is recovered. Is it alright? You will say me, sir, my investment is say 90.70. It is recovered in third year. But please understand, you are talking nominally. You need to talk really. After discounting the cash flow, what is the year in which your investment is recovered? And what will be the years in this case? 2.72. What will be years in this case? 2.67. That's correct. What is duration of the bond? The weighted average number of years in which your initial investment is recovered. Never try to do this. I am recovering 10 rupees. I am recovering 10 rupees. I am recovering 100. And you are not recovering 10 rupees. You are recovering 8.77 rupees. You are recovering 7.69 rupees. Considering time value of money, you are recovering 74.24 rupees. Is it alright? So ultimately, this is the number of years or weighted average number of years in which your investment is recovered. Is it alright? Recovery of your investment is done in 2.72 years. Is it alright? See, if you will take initial investment as 90.70, then you are ignoring the interest. Then the number of years will be 3. Is it alright? But this is average weighted number of years in which your initial investment is recovered. Is it alright? Now, you will say me, sir, what is the use? Believe me, rather than calculation logic, the use is more important. Lower the duration, better is the bond. Lower the duration, better is the bond. Say, I'll tell you, there is a duration of 10 in the bond of A Limited, B Limited, N is 10. So what is the maturity period is 10 years. Duration of this bond is 7.50. Duration of this bond is 6.50. B Limited bond will be better. Once again, B Limited bond is less risky. This also measures the sensitivity. You can understand this, right? Something which is recovered in 7.5 years and something which is recovered in 6.5 years. 6.5 years is less risky as compared to 7.5 years. So duration is also measurement of risk. Is it all? So people analyze the duration from the point of view of risk also. Lower the duration, lower is the risk. higher the duration, higher is the risk. So duration of the bond was weighted average number of years in which initial investment is recovered, but now it is also used as nothing but measurement of risk. So this is Maclaurin's duration, weighted average number of years in which your recovery of investment is done. Is it alright? How to find it out? Once again, I will be taking I as years, 1, 2, 3, and I will be taking weight as a present value of cash flow, and present value will be done at yield percentage and not at face value or a coupon rate or any other percentage. It will done at yield percentage, and this is nothing but duration of bond. Is it alright? Yes. I want to answer from some of the students. If you have understood some of the concept, you will be able to answer this. If for any bond the coupon rate increases, what will happen to duration? Other things remaining constant. Yes, Sakshi has put on the mic. Yes.
Duration will decrease.
Yes, it is correct answer. Duration will decrease if the coupon rate increases. Is it alright? See, now you can understand the broad concept of duration. If the coupon rate increases, you are going to recover your money soon. If you are going to recover your money soon, then ultimately the risk decreases and the duration should decrease. So coupon rate increases, duration decreases. Is it alright? Yes. Maturity period increases, what will happen to duration? Say first the bond was maturing in 5 years, now due to some reason it is maturing after 10 years. No one. If the maturity period of bond increases, other things remaining same, what will happen to duration? Sachin? So Stuti is saying that it will remain same, and Sakshi is saying that it will decrease. Meg?
It will decrease, sir.
Yes, sir.
Jaimin? It will?
Decrease.
Decrease.
Okay. Decrease means risk will decrease. Huh?
Yes, I mean, sorry, increase.
Yes,
sorry.
sir.
Risk will decrease.
The duration will simultaneously increase, sir.
Duration will increase.
Yes, sir.
Meg is
Yes,
saying
sir.
increase.
This will increase.
Alright, now Sakshi is also opinion duration will increase. Alright, I'll
Yes,
tell
sir.
you I'll tell you a simple logic. Is it alright? I was going to pay you 1 lakh rupees today. Is it alright? Now I am going to pay you 1 lakh rupees after 30 days. When it is more risky, today or after 30 days? For you.
After 30 days.
After 30 days. Is it alright? So, the company was going to repay you back your principal amount plus some money if they are paying premium on redemption after 10 years. Now they are going to pay after 15 years. Believe me, the risk will increase, and whenever duration is a measurement of risk. Whenever the risk increases, the duration will increase. Is it alright? So, if the coupon rate increases, duration decreases. If the coupon rate decreases, duration increases. This we have done. Also, if maturity increases, coupon rate increases. If maturity decreases, coupon rate decreases. Is it alright? Let me go to difficult one. If market price decreases, what will happen to, sorry, this is duration, not coupon rate. If market price decreases, what will happen to duration? If you will go mathematically, it will be difficult. If you will go logically, it will be easy.
Sir, it won't change because nowhere are we taking the market price into consideration. We are taking
You
redemption
are
value.
taking. You are taking. Is it right?
Sir, it will
Sir, it will
increase.
decrease.
It will decrease. Sachin and Stuti both are of the
No,
opinion.
sir. No, sir. I said it will increase.
You said it will increase. If the market price decreases, the duration of the bond will increase. All right. And Sachin, you are of the opinion increase? No. Mac, you got it or you not? See, if it is nowhere market price is taken into consideration while calculation of duration. It is taken. Yield. Yield is based upon what you are actually earning. If your market price decreases, your yield will increase. Then you cannot discount it at 14% again. Is it alright? So yield is dependent upon market price and the duration of the bond is dependent upon yield. So you cannot say that market price is nowhere considered while finding out duration. Is it alright? Also, tell me again a simple thing. With the same atmosphere, same coupon rate, same maturity value, if something was first available at 100 rupees, now it is available at 90 rupees, your risk is increasing or decreasing? If something is a same product giving you same cash flow, say there is a company and the value of the company was 100 crore. Now it has become 90 crore. Your risk has increased or decreased?
Increased.
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 Still increased. The duration will decrease. The risk will also decrease. You are getting something at a cheaper rate. You are getting
Yes,
something
sir.
at a cheaper rate. Alright. The duration will decrease. Is it all? I think you are thinking from a mathematical point of view. So you are not getting the answer. If the market price decreases, the duration will decrease. The yield will increase and duration will decrease. Is it alright? If market price increases, duration will increase. Is it alright? Let me give you example in another page. Is it alright? Market price for X Limited was 200 crore. Is it alright? It was having a risk of, say I have measured the risk 40. What it is, forget it. It is not duration. Huh? Now for the same company, something happened and market price became 150 crore. What will happen to your risk? It will decrease because now the same thing, same cash flows, everything same is available at a lower rate. Is it not? Your duration will decrease. This is a concept of duration, logic of duration. Yes, both Sachin and Sakshi were saying that it will, if market price decreases, duration will increase. Is it alright? Can you explain me what you were thinking? Then I can solve it.
No, sir. I have told it will decrease. Sakshi has said it will.
Yes,
decrease.
Sakshi, can you tell me what you are thinking?
Yes, sir. I thought from the investor point of view that they will, if the market rate decreases, then they will get less return. I thought that way.
No, because it is today. You are purchasing the bond today. So for you, it
Yes,
will be
sir.
available at lower rate. Is it all? Maturity
Yes, sir.
value is remaining same. So this see now. There are two types of similar bond giving same coupon rate, everything, and say A and B, one duration is 4 years and another duration is 5 years. The selection becomes extremely easy. Just by watching the duration, you can decide which bond you should purchase. Yes, market price should be approximate, same for both the bonds. Then you can directly make the duration. Again, Macaulay says it is average years in which you are recovering your investment. This is nothing but Macaulay's duration. And believe me, we are going to learn next point in the same question which is nothing but modified duration.
Hello.
Yes?
Sir, then what is the logic behind zero coupon bond? Because generally government issues zero coupon bond on highly infrastructure projects.
Okay.
Then how can we calculate yield?
On zero coupon bonds, you can always calculate.
Sir, how? Because it's the time of duration is
What you want
very
to
high.
calculate? Yield or duration?
Yield.
Yield. Alright. Zero coupon bond today is available at 90 rupees. That's it. Alright. After 1 year, the government is going to pay you back 100 rupees. What you are actually earning in 1 year? 10 rupees. What is your yield? 10%. It is not exactly 10%. It is not, because the investment is 90. Is it alright? But say investment, let me take exactly 10%. You are investing 100 rupees today. After 1 year, the government will not give you interest but give you 110 rupees back. And a zero coupon bonds. Sorry, these are zero coupon bonds. Is it alright?
Okay.
So what is my yield? What I am earning in 1 year? 10%. That's right. Can I find, suppose this was after 2 years. Yield will not be 10%. That's right. But if it is after 2 years, can I find out duration? Yes. 1, 2. 1, what is cash flow? 0. What is cash flow after 2 years? 110. Discount this cash flow at yield. This will remain 0. But here there will be a figure. Is it alright? Still sigma IW divided by sigma W, you can also find out duration of zero coupon bonds. Is it alright? But say if the zero coupon bonds are for particular months, 3 months, 12 months, 6 months, then the duration will come in months. Is it alright? But still the duration will give you the same answer. Is it alright? How much risky the bond is. Is it alright? Maclay says it is nothing but average number of years in which your investment is recovered. Is it alright? We are going to next concept, which is modified duration. Is it alright? And please understand, it is extension of duration, but the concept is totally different. X limited, Y limited again. First, I am again helping you to calculate modified duration. It is nothing but duration upon 1 plus YTM. Let me find out for X limited. What was duration of X? 2.72 years. Divided by 1 plus 0.14. YTM is yield to maturity. Yield is nothing but yield to maturity. Is it alright? What will be modified duration of Y limited? Duration of Y was 2.67. Divided by 1 plus 0.15. Modified duration of X limited will be 2.72 divided by 1.14 is 2.38. And here the modified duration will be 2.67 divided by 1.15 is 2.32. Sir, what is modified duration? Forget it, this is formula for finding out modified duration. Please try to tell me this one thing. If market rate of interest decreases, what happens to price of bond? Please understand, this is extremely difficult to understand, But still, I want you to give me the answer. What will happen to price of bond? Let me even take an example of one particular bond. Number of year is 10 years. Face value is 100. Coupon rate is 10%. And market price of this bond is 96. We don't know yield, we don't know anything. That's correct. Right now, the market interest rate, let me take market price even as 100. That's correct. Right now, the market, a prevailing rate in the market of the bond or market is 10%. So this type of bond is available. My question is, if this market rate of interest decreases, say first fixed deposit was done at 10%. Now fixed deposit is available at 8%. So in market, the overall rate of interest has decreased. My question is, what will happen to price of the bond? Price of the bond will increase or price of the bond will decrease?
It will increase.
If the market rate of interest decreases, what will happen to the price of the bond? See, let me explain you. That's all right. There is one box which is going to give you 10 rupees every year for 1 to 10 years, and after 10 years it is going to give you 100 rupees. It is fixed. 10 rupees you are going to get on the investment of rupees 100, and it is absolutely fixed. That's correct. This box right now is valued at rupees 100. That's correct. In market, the rate of interest decreased. The overall rate of interest decreased. What will happen to value of this bond? Still, it will be giving you 10 rupees every year. Huh? Jaimin's answer is absolutely correct. The price of the bond will increase. Now the value of this box has increased because it is giving cash flow of 10 rupees every year. Now the market price will not remain 100. Why? Then you are getting 10% rate of return. The market value of this bond will increase. Why? See the coupon. 10%. Everything else is remaining same. 100, redemption value is also 100, market price is also 100. Now for getting this 10 rupees, the market rate of interest is only 8%. So people will be ready to pay more money to get this 10 rupees because now their required rate of return will be approximately 8%. So the price of the bond will increase. And if market rate of interest decreases, market rate of interest increases, the price of the bond will decrease. That's right. This bond is giving only 10%. Now the market rate is 12%. Obviously, the price of this box will decrease. Now people will not be ready to pay 100 rupees because they are getting only 10 rupees. Now the people will be ready to pay less than 100 rupees so that they can get that 12% rate of return, which is nothing but market rate of interest. So, market rate of interest and price of the bond are always negatively correlated or inversely related. Is it alright? Now the concept of modified duration comes into picture. For X Limited, try to understand. If the market rate of interest decreases by 1%, then price of the bond will increase by 2.38%. What is 2.38? It is nothing but modified duration. if the market rate of interest will increase by 1%, the price of the bond will decrease by 2.38% from current price. Is correct. For Y Limited, this was for X Limited. For Y Limited, what is the duration? Modified duration 2.32. If the rate of interest decreases by 1%, the price of the bond will increase by 2.32%. It was 2.32? Yes. And if the market rate of increases by 1%, then the price of the bond will decrease by 2.32%. This is for Y Limited. This is for X Limited. And this is how the concept of modified duration is used. Is it alright? Now try to understand. If the market rate of interest was 10% and now it became 9%, so it has decreased by 1%. Is it alright? The market price of X Limited will become 102.38. The market price of Y Limited will become 102.32. If the market rate has decreased by 1%, X Limited market price will increase 102.38 and Y Limited market price will increase to 102.32. This is how modified. See, whenever there is a market changes, market rate, say the CRR, SLR is changed or the base rate of the bank is changed, then you can directly calculate what is the maximum price you are ready to pay for this particular bond. You don't have to recalculate everything else again. Say we have taken maturity of 3 years. The maturity might be of 10 years. Then you will have to again find out the cash flow, find out the yield, find out everything, find out again duration. But the modified duration, if you find out, so only modified duration is in percentage. The duration was in years. Modified duration is in percentage. Once again, I am explaining you this. If the market rate of interest decreases by 1%, this bond will increase by 2.38%. If the market decreases by 1%, this bond will increase by 2.32%. This is how the modified duration is used. Is it alright? Modified duration again is the measurement of risk. I'll tell you how. Suppose modified duration of A Limited is 5% and B Limited is 10%. I will tell B Limited is more risky. Why? If the market rate of interest increases by 1%, this bond market price will decrease by 10%. If the market rate of return increases by 1%, this bond will decrease only by 5%. We have not yet done portfolio management, so you are not very convenient with risk. But understand, volatility in cash flow is nothing but a risk. We will be understanding in portfolio management better. But understand, if modified duration is higher, the risk is higher. So duration as well as modified duration, both are measurement of risk. But still, duration is in years, average number of years in which your investment will be recovered. Modified duration, 5%. If the interest rate increases by 1% in market, the value of the bond will decrease by 5%. If the interest rate decreases by 1%, value of the bond will increase by 5%. And always remember, this never misses. They are always negatively correlated whatever happens. Sorry. If you have not understood this properly, please try to rethink. Is it alright? If the market rate of interest increases or decreases, what will happen to the price of the bond? Once you get logically in your mind, this will become easy, and you will also understand the use of modified duration, which how to find out modified duration is very easy. It is duration divided by 1 plus YTM. Is it alright? So, which concept we have learned? Yield to maturity. Yield to maturity is same as yield. Is YTM is equal to actual rate of return bond is earning, or IRR of bond. Sorry. Then we did duration. Sorry. What was duration? It is average number of years for recovery. How we found out? We took I as years and weight as present value of cash flow at the rate of YTM. And we found out sigma IW divided by sigma W. And we understood higher the duration, higher is the risk of the bond. Is it alright? Higher the duration, higher is the risk of the bond. Similarly, lower the duration, lower is the risk of the bond. Then we did modified duration. It is nothing but duration divided by 1 plus YTM. Alright. And this is also measurement of risk. Higher the modified duration, higher is the risk. Is it alright? This will be in years. This will be in percentage. Is it alright? Let me write down even one figure. If the modified duration is 2, what does it mean? If the interest rate increases by 1%, the market price of bond will decrease by 2%. If the interest rate decreases by 1%, market price of bond will increase by 2%. This is what it means when the modified duration is 2. So, in bond, 3 concepts: yield to maturity, that is YTM. Number 2 is duration of the bond. Number 3 is modified duration of the bond. Modified duration of the bond is also termed as volatility in of bond. In all the papers, what they ask is volatility. Believe me, they are absolutely same. Yes, the bond concept was given by Merkley, but the modified bond was not given by Merkley. Is it alright? It was later on derived, and this is concept of see, even you can understand logically the concept of volatility. Volatility. If the interest rate increases by 1%, the market price of the bond decreases by 2%. It measures the volatility. Is it all? So this is nothing but concept of bond and bond valuation. We are not able to do any of the question in this lecture, but we have understood the basic concepts of bond. Still, we will be taking 2 more lectures to just calculate the valuation of the bond, duration and modified duration of the bond story. So we are ending the session. Let us go for question answer if you are having any doubts.